I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to Home.
Who's going to break Naismith's world title?
Oh, he's done it! And look at these two go! Itchy Hoy is going to do it! His first victory!
The World Championship is done.
What a race it's been!
Hello and welcome to the Manama circuit in Bahrain for the beginning of a new FSR Academy season in 2023. The drivers have waited 9 long months since the last season ended in August, with George Salagianis winning the championship and Valle securing the team's championship after a late charge from Peter Vagapov. Both of those move up to pro, but we've got a field of new drivers and old drivers from last season looking to impress here under the lights. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me is Joshua Burch. We are sponsored, of course, by VCO and a host of other partners here at FSR. So, Josh, it's going to be a very exciting qualifying session to decide the grid, followed, of course, by a 34-lap race. And all these Academy guys, like I said, have been waiting a long time for this season to start. And they're finally going to see some action, as indeed are the watching audience.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here for SFR as well. I'm looking so much forward to this as well here in Bahrain. It's a fantastic circuit. 34 laps ahead of us for the race. It's going to be brilliant stuff. And I'm really, really excited to see what this brand new season is going to bring.
Oh, me too. Anyway, here is the schedule, of course. 9 rounds this season to look forward to, starting in Bahrain, going all the way to Sao Paulo, 15th of October. And remember, it's not just Academy. We've got Pro, which will be in action later on today. And of course, this evening, our first World Championship round will get underway. And that's going to be very, very exciting. And if you want to know a bit more about the competitors in the World Championship, then please do watch the 17-minute video that I made detailing all 30 drivers and 15 teams. It did take a while to make, but it was well worth the wait, I'm sure. Only a day's notice before the race started, sadly. But Academy, that's very much to go, and we've got a lot of new things. We've got a lot of ground to cover, haven't we, Josh, in terms of what to look forward to this season, in terms of the cars, the drivers, the teams, and of course the circuits as we see on screen at the moment.
Absolutely. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it, going forward as well. Bahrain, Barcelona, Montreal, Silverstone and Imola as well to take us to the first half into the summer. Then we get Spa, Monza, Suzuka and Sao Paulo to round up the season as well. A good, strong calendar with very fast tracks. And we can overtake now at Barcelona, so that's fun. Montreal's always one of my personal favourites as well.
It will be about the final chicane as well, I've confirmed.
Yeah, so brilliant. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
So anyway,
Again.
is underway, Josh, as you say. So we've got about 8 minutes to go then, and nobody's set times yet because they've literally just been set out the pit lane. We're on board with Esteban Single, of course. Now Single, who ended last season extremely strong for ground effect with a great qualifying in Brazil, unfortunately crashed out in the race. Has one podium to his name from Malaysia last season. So Esteban Single, and we know, I talked to the manager of Ground Effect, a guy called Jose Ignacio, and he says he's proud of each and every one of his drivers. So I assume that means Single as well. Lovely livery, by the way, by Matt Tucson that you see on track. He's obviously spent a lot of time off season working on really making that red rear wing pop, as well as the sort of purple at the front. So purple is kind of the Ground Effect color, as you see on the timing screen. But Single gets underway, and everyone, of course, it's private qualifying, so nobody's going to run into each other on track, thankfully, Josh. But Single looking like he's on a good first run.
Yeah, so as it comes through as well, back on the attack in second sector, it's purple, 38.994 as well. Long back straight away now, coming in towards turn 14. It's an interesting section of the track, this one, because it immediately follows turn 15, which doesn't actually exist. It's a little kink there at the exit that counts as a corner with the exit curbing. But as well, Kringle goes top. Should do was across the line. Come on. There we go. 1:28.550. Great time there with a good middle sector time as well for Esteban. We've got Smith going into second position as well on a 1:28.816. And so far, everyone doing incredibly well with the banker lap times with 6 minutes to go of the session.
Yeah, fastest final sector for Alex Hallows. Fastest first sector, though, for Alessandro Maggio in the Valle. We're watching Scott Flack at the moment in the Super Venturi, of course. Lovely livery on that finish score. You will recognize it, of course, if you watch GPVWC especially in Super League, where they've got the same lineup taking part in the World Championship. But Scott Flack did take part last season, had a couple of top 5s, top 6s, and looking to make that next step up, because often in your first couple of seasons in Academy, you want to just have a good baseline to work of, know how these cars work, even though they change every season, it would seem. And indeed, this season, they've got the new hybrid electric powertrain sort of to get to grips with, which obviously influences how the push-to-pass works. It means they've got 120 kilowatts, or is it kilojoules, of power to work. There we go, Scott Flack goes fastest, 128.4. So that shows the experience really showing there. Saracino, who also had a DPS drive last season, slots in second fastest. And then it's Velistra and Single and Maggio, who we talked about and seen in action earlier. This is Bruzita crossing the line for his new team. What's it called again? Was it SimSpark? That's it. There we go. I'm memorizing the Academy team names as well as the World Championship ones. So that's like over 30 teams in my head at the moment. So forgive me if it takes a while from the first race for me to get to grips with it. Here's JM Garnier in the Competition entry. The French team, of course. Lovely new livery. Looks it looks like the old Rothmans Williams, doesn't it, Josh? And indeed, with the blue wheel covers are a nice touch as well. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, we lost Josh. So somebody at the door, I think, in the Burch household. But JM Garnier, he continues on with a personal best first 2 sectors, but with just less than 5 minutes left to go. It is Scott Flack, still on the fastest time with a 128.4. I think those behind still looking to improve, though. Great to see, by the way, the team manager of Royal Blue, Matthew Clip, taking part. He set the 12th fastest time, just ahead of Nandor Marsa. Crossing the line now is Velistra to start a new run. Very close at the top between Flack, Saracino, and Velistra and Single, all within a tenth of each other. And there's Velistra in the TR. Looks like the TR Motorsports car, just getting a little bit sideways into turn 1. So the braking with his hybrid electric powertrain, really difficult. We've seen in a lot of practice sessions the drivers really struggling to keep it in a straight line under braking. But Velistra will be hoping to ace the rest of this lap, and indeed sets a purple first sector. So whatever he was doing in that TR car, it's working. 27.315, in the first sector. We're right on board the nose cone, then into turns 9 and 10. The tricky hairpin, so easy to get offline here. And indeed the rear steps out just a little bit for Velistra. Let's see the sector 2 split. Single has actually set a purple middle sector there, 38.8, so he's a little bit ahead on his lap. We'll have to see if he can go that little bit quicker. But Velistra powering through then into the penultimate corner, a little bit slower. Oh, and there we go, completely losing it there. So I think he slower in split 2 and then immediately abandoned. But let's see a replay now. I said one of the Royal Blues getting stuck. It might have been Matthew Clip, I believe. So we go back now to live on-track action. Then this is Thomas Smith, who I believe drove for, what was the orange? Severin Arrows, there we go, last season, and has made the move to Super Venturi. In the top 8 at the moment, but his teammate Scott Flack currently leading proceedings here with less than 3 minutes to go in qualifying. And is everything okay on that Super Venturi? This is an outlap, of course, yes. So for a moment there, I thought Scott Flack had a puncture or something, but I misheard completely from race direction. Cass Rietveld, by the way, doing a great job on cams, of course. El Presidente, the role previously held by Cameron Roger. And, of course, he's done a great job organising everything. He's got a lot on his plate, so really appreciate it. As we see, this is Maggio, of course, the man who seems to win every race I commentate on in a GPVWC Academy. He's run the last 3 in a row. He's won about 6 in total, I think, in his GPVWC season, and also won a race in a Formula Sprint 2 as well. So a man very much on the move, going places, but he's got some serious competition here if he wants to get on pole position. Improvement in the middle sector, 39.117. Is he going to cross the line now? DRS wide open. And it is still 5th fastest for Maggio, so he does not improve. 2 tenths slower, I think. This is Scott Flack then, about to finish his outlap and start a lap, I believe. Through turn 15 we go. 14, sorry. And then there's the invisible turn that Josh was talking about earlier. Turn 15 and then 16. So let's ride on board then with Scott Flack. a lot of interest, a lot of good performances last season, but never quite got the podium to show for it, sadly. So let's hope he can start this season and making the big leap up, of course, compared to his previous attempt. And once again, we see the hybrid, the braking system just kicking in there, and literally a step of oversteer on entry. But Scott Flack keeps it under control beautifully. Into turn 3 and 4 we go. And again, a little snap on exit there, but Flack pushing for all he's worth into the snake section of 5 and 6. It's a personal best, 27.4. Downhill we go into 9 and 10. And again, getting the braking spot on there. So easy to lock a brake, completely lose it. But behind, it looks like Saracino is going a tenth faster, actually, than Scott Flack in the first sector there. So keep your eyes on Giuseppe Saracino. He might be able to snatch his pole position by the skin of his teeth. Miganov has gone up to third with a 128.5. And he's only 4 thousandths of a second behind Saracino then. But in a purple middle sector for Scott Flack, so this could well be the pole lap we're on board with. The time has expired, so this is going to be his final effort then. 1 corner to go. Just needs to make sure he doesn't run too wide onto the curbing here. And indeed, Scott Flack, pretty conservative, knows he's on a good one. Can't afford to mess up here at the death. Across the line we go. Is it going to be pole position for Scott Flack? It is 128.392. So he's got it by a tenth over Saracino. But here is Giuseppe Saracino then. About to cross the line then. It is a bright blue GG car, and it's slower in the middle sector, so he does not improve. Here is Romulo Silveira in the royal blue racing car. Personal bests in both sectors. Can he jump past the likes of Maggio? Single goes second fastest then and just misses out on pole position to Scott Flack there by 0.017. But Silveira now powering through the final corner. DRS about to open now. You see that flap open like a loader box, as we call it. And crosses the line. Does not improve, sadly, for Romulo Silveira. His 10 Snapbangers in the NetRX. Currently in 9th. Personal best middle sector. Crosses the line. Personal best final sector, but still only good enough for 8th position. So just that is pretty much everyone apart from Matthew Clipp, I believe, who has just crossed the line now. And Smith now goes 8th fastest to actually displace Snapbangers there in the Super Venturi. So just missing out there, but that is your qualifying session over, and it is Scott Flack who takes pole position then.
Right, fingers crossed this is now working. And
hey, we're back, Josh. Thank you.
I don't know where
I thought somebody was at the front door and you had to leave.
There was an echo, and it's not coming from my side, so I've just spent the last 5 minutes turning everything off for echo. So fingers crossed that's going to work, and everyone's going to hear me clearly. So hello, everyone.
Yeah, well, apologies for that, with those technical difficulties, but we have got Josh back, and back just in time, Josh, to see the starting grid. So do you want me to go through it then? I guess I will.
Please
do.
So
there we go. I wasn't waiting for an answer there. It's a bit rude of me. Scott Flack then takes his first pole position in Academy for Super Venturi from the ground effect of Istvan Single. Takes another front row in a row. Giuseppe Saracino takes his best result so far for SimSpark in 3rd, ahead of Daniel Miganov on his debut for Valet. Stan Valistra takes 5th on the grid for Geeks Energy SimRacing, of course that's TR Motorsports. Alessandro Maggio, on his first appearance in Academy, although not the Academy you're used to seeing him in, takes 6th place on the grid, ahead of Romulo Silveira. Then it is Thomas Smith, 10 Snapbangers. Elysia Nunez rounds out the top 10 in another Valet entry, this time a red one. I'm not sure what the story is there, but Valet's usually yellow, but sometimes red, just like Ferrari, I guess. Dano Brandholm takes 11th place for Valet, ahead of House Sonneveld. Then is Adam Buzita, Andrei Borutovsky, Nando Marsa in an improved showing for Marsa there. Not seen him qualify in the top 15 last season, so that is a good showing. Hugo Lozano Garcia takes 16th for SimSpark at a Matthew Clips Royal Blue Racing car. Then there's Ruben Van den Hudding, Pavel Andrzejewski, Giuseppe Canzanieri for Team GG, rounding out the top 20. Then, I believe, we have our final 10 cars on the grid then. And they are Matthias Harvig, Mateusz Dabrowski, Thomas Andrium Harizoa, Dmitry Zaharov, Fabrice Morlaito, Peter Knapp, Alex Hallows, Ten Sonneveld, Lewis Stevens and Jean-Michel Garnier rounding out the field for Competition.
Going to be a very interesting session coming up then for the race. Fingers crossed this is going to be one of the most entertaining openers we see. We'll get as well with the 5-light procedure shortly as well, but right around the grid. I mean, Scott Flack was absolutely brilliant. He topped the session, within 2 minutes? So this is going to be, I think, a pretty easy run to the end of the race. I think tyres going to be a strategy, but this is going to be fun. I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this, Ed?
Oh, absolutely. And the interesting thing about Scott Flack is there are a couple of races last season where he would end up having to pit early, I think, and I remember Le Mans where he was doing quite well running in the top 5 or 6 and then spun up the rear tyres at one of the Mulsanne chicanes. So, yeah, we did race open wheel cars at the Circuit de la Sarthe last season. Don't think we'll be doing it this season, unfortunately. We've still got a brilliant candidate ahead of us, and Bahrain, the first track on it, Scott Flack, master in qualifying. Will be interesting to see the start of a single or Saracino can get the drop on him. But I think, like you say, Scott Flack, that experience from last season coming in handy, and the same with the likes of Single, Valistra, Silviera, and Smith also qualifying well. And yeah, like you say, Josh, I'm just so excited to finally get the season underway. Well,
it's my first race here. How long has it been since our last race? It was way into last year, wasn't it?
It was, I said 9 months, didn't I? It was August last season that our final Academy race took place at Brazil, I think.
9 months, wow.
Yeah, I know. It's long enough to have a kid in. And in fact, speaking
I shall
of
call
which,
my sister, the older one.
So we are waiting for the grid then to form up. And Josh, I believe you are going to take the start, if that's okay.
It's fine
But
by
we have
me.
got a warm-up lap before we get going, I should point out. And during that time, we will be able to just go over the grid for those who missed the end of qualifying. Hint, hint, Josh.
Yes, me. Hello. Nice always to do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am looking at it. I'm just thinking, I'm struggling to hear you, actually. So it's like you're going in and out with your microphone. Like your thing's now peaking as well. So we'll get that sorted.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No worries. It's going to be a lot of great fun, this one. Hopefully everyone's going to enjoy it watching here for Formula Sim Racing for the Academy Series to get underway. New cars, new rules, it's all going to be fun.
Absolutely, Josh. That's an interesting thing we just cut to. The end of warm-up, Snetvanger's in between the middle of one of the valet cars, but that's all sorted now. Don't worry about that. There was a front wing lying astream, but it's quickly going to get glued back on. And we'll get Academy underway. And if you're here for action, you've come to the right place, because Academy,
that type of action.
we tend to see a lot. Well, okay, yeah. no. It's pre-watershed, Josh. By a long way as well. Anyway, the grid gets going. Everyone appears on it, and Scott Flack leads the formation lap away then from Esteban Singo. And this is where they need to get the tyres under control, the brakes under control in the right operating temperatures. Here in the heat of the desert, of course, they should warm up pretty quickly, you think. No sign of rain either, so don't need to worry about that. But we should see. There we go. So, Josh, take it away.
So Scott Flack on pole position as well. Ismail Kingle in second position, as you said, Ed, as well. Lucas Arcani as well in third position. That's going to be a big one to watch as well. Maggio is someone that I've seen before in sim racing, starting in sixth as well. I'm going to be looking to see if they make the best starts. Last time I watched them, they didn't make a good start. Further back in the grid as well. Big one here as well for Gilles Sonneveld as well. A legend in the eSport community. Loves rFactor as well. There's a lot of racing. Disappointed to see him start down in 12th position as well on the grid. Just a few highlights here as well. And I look at Massa in 15th position as well. He's got Garcia just alongside him as well on the 8th row of the grid. And I mean, looking at the grid just coming through, Ed, as well, there's a lot of drivers out of position from a very difficult qualifying. And I suppose it's because of the new cars. They've done the testing, but it's not quite all together yet, is it?
Yeah, you really do need, like I was saying, that experience to know what the car's going to do under braking into some of the, especially some of the more technical corners like 9 and 10 here at Bahrain. You can just ebb time away if you haven't got the car set up correctly. But anyway, the last few cars here on the starting grid then: Moleto 25th ahead of Peter Knapp, Hallows, Sonneveld, and then of course behind them we have got Stevens and Garnier that are making up the final row of the grid. All of those guys looking to make up ground. Every lap they do, they're going to gain confidence, Josh, because the more laps you get under your belt, the better you'll be. And it's all about, some of them might just plonk on the hard tyres and see how long they can go into the race. But it looks like up front, everyone up to Silviera is going to start on the medium tyres, although Single And Marsa, the ground effect guys, might be gambling on the softs, it seems. We'll have to see if it updates. Sometimes it's a little bit slow if they change their mind at the last minute on tire choices, but hopefully that is accurate.
Up to the line they come then. The racing about to get underway. Might actually help if I press the unmute button there on the
Yes, Josh, exactly.
We've been doing
this is your
too
moment.
much.
Time to shine. Right, Jean-Michel Garnier then is going to line up at the very back of the field, and once he's in place, the lights will come on, and Josh will take you through the first couple of corners, as we're expecting quite a lot of action and drama, and indeed potentially the usual Academy chaos.
Look at the track temperature, track temperature 42.4 degrees, air temperature 21.9. It's exactly where we need it, and we are about to get underway. Brand new season, brand new cars, and now the run down to turn 1 is always going to be key. The start procedure is underway. Hard tyres versus mediums. Who's going to get the best getaway? Lights out in Bahrain. Great start. People going to go straight down. Look at that. I said flack on the hard tyres. We're going to better go. We've got a huge crash in the back. 3 cars involved. As Squiggle on the inside. Flack's going to try and hold it and loses out on the hard compound tyres. Here comes Sarpino as well. There's more drama around and everyone's everywhere.
Yeah, Saracino just lost it, and him and Velistra coming into contact, but beautiful Vivale, Miganov, and Maggio up to 3rd and 4th, but somebody at the very back did not get away at all. I believe it was Moleto and Alex Hallows coming together there, but Single on the soft tyres then gets a beautiful getaway, but Scott Flack may be playing the long game if he can hold on to that second place, and there we go. Oh, that's one of the Super Venturis. Oh, that's Thomas Smith into the side of Velistra, and a massive conundrum behind. Somebody lost the rear wing there in one of the GG cars, and that is a real catastrophe there.
Valley eSports as well. One of them got smoke. It's Nunez with a Smoke King rear of the car. Look, there it is in the back of the track we're watching. Rear wing gone, so more drama. There's more front wings and rear wings missing at the moment. Then a child's play toys of Formula cars that have been smashed into skirting boards. It's like that on the opening lap of this race as well. But look at Kringle, look at that. 9 tenths ahead already. Starting on a, I believe it's on a soft compound tyre. That explains why he had a great start. Originally it's a medium compound, and it is soft tyre. He got
like
such
I said,
a great launch.
It does sometimes take a while to update, Josh, but Single now, he's got to build the gap because he's going to have to pit at least one more time than Scott Black as we see a move up the inside the last corner. Boratovsky trying to pass Smith on the inside, and now Snetbangers looks to take advantage. No DRS yet then, but we will on the next lap then as we go to the end of lap 2. So DRS will be enabled next time around. Snetbangers takes advantage of the slipstream to get past Smith. But Boratovsky, here we go. He's going to try up the inside of him into turn. Whoa! The front wing falls off. He hits the back of one of the valets. Yes.
Yes,
it's Hudding.
Yeah, Hudding's going to drop back, and Nunez too is in trouble, dropping back from 21st position. There's Hudding then with no front wing coming into turn 4.
It's Snetbangers with no front wing, sorry. He hit the back of Hudding.
And there's more down and further back, as well as Hallows getting through with Lorenzo Garcia as well in 29th position. So it's all kicking off as well. They're not holding back, are they, this year in the Academy? New cars, and everyone's deciding, okay, can we crash them? Can we race them? Or can we do both as well? Hybrid technology. And a few of them with, I think, a few more technical issues as well with the smoke we were seeing. But we are racing in the daytime. That's why the track temperature and the air temperature is so high as well. Of course, rFactor reflects that entire temperature. So everyone's going to have to be keeping them A, cool, and B, lighter. DRS has been activated, being told.
Yeah, there we go. So a move up the inside on Snetbangers then from Dabrowski for the Hyperion team. And we did see also a good move just a few seconds ago from Matthias Harvig past Hudding. So it wasn't Hudding that got hit, as we see Alex Hallows and Hugo Lorenzo Garcia retiring from the race, which is a big shame for them. I think they would have hoped to go much further, but Alex Hallows involved in that collision on the start line. Garcia then, as you see, in the pit lane going a lap down now. But anyway, as you say, in the lead, Single has got the lead up to a second now. So Scott Flack has really struggled to keep up on the medium tyres, sorry. But this is the difficult part for Single, and he doesn't have that much experience of leading in Academy. It's not the situation we've seen him in before. So he's got to deal with the pressure of leading and also got to make his strategy work over the next 31 laps or so. Scott Flack, meanwhile, he's got Miganov all over the back of him for company. So he's going to have his mirrors absolutely full in this stint rather than worrying about what Single's doing in front of him. So Scott Flack he's kind of in a Malcolm in the middle position, as I like to say, in these situations.
Well, he's not going to become president at the season finale, that's certainly for sure as well.
Wow,
as he comes back through.
I didn't remember that happening. Okay.
well, he didn't become president. His mum told him, you're going to become president. That's your career path, because it stopped him getting rich anyway. But still, Flack then in second position. He's dropped 1.3 seconds to Roger Kringle, who leads this race. Brilliant start. Those soft compound tyres. I mentioned it actually. The difference between them on this track temperature surface is literally the difference between almost lava and ice. They are polar opposites to try and get right. The medium compound tyre, well, that's normal ground that you would walk on as well. They're the best ones to get you to the hole 34 as they come back through. And there's a DRS now further back in the field in P26. That was Snapper Vega sort of trying to pass Sonneveld.
Oh, Smith going wide at the last corner, Josh. And this could be the opportunity for Miganov then. He's got DRS about to open now as he goes towards the start and finish straight. Unfortunately, Scott has got very good straight line speed here, so Miganov is going to have to dive very late here into turn 1. He has a look up the inside. Is he going to make the route? No, he has to back out really, really late there. We saw again the the sort of kinetic energy recovery system under braking, just absolutely bailing out at the last second there as Maggio behind is under attack from Saracino, who's recovering from his start. Saracino is going up the inside into turn 4, Josh, and Maggio is going to be stranded on the outside. Will he keep his foot in? No, he has to let him through.
Yeah, has to, so that's going to be difficult for Maggio to get it back as well. If you lose a position as well, you're immediately be under attack from behind. That's exactly what's happening with Viestre right there too. And I'm surprised Sonneveld's, just what is he, 1 second back to this fight? 1.9 seconds back to the battle we're watching. On board with Viestre then. Can he have the inside to turn 10? It's very tight. You can slipstream at the exit though. We'll have the DRS activated on the run down towards turn 11. And look at that. Magallo trying to break the toe as he's got DRS to Sonico in the front, and there's a little bit of a tap there, Ed.
Yeah, Maggio just got very, very close to the back of Saracino, and that has opened the door for Valistra. Valistra pushing quite hard. We saw him just squirreling, and that's not somewhere we usually see an overtake. And there we go. Maggio very firmly closing the door. I'm not sure he even saw that coming from Valistra, but Stan Valistra in the Geeks Energy SimRacing car is going to have to regroup, wait for this DRS zone, and make the pass down the main straight. I think that's probably the more sensible option. Meanwhile, the top 3 continuing to break away then. Single, Flack, Miganov, all within about 1.5 seconds of each other.
The action getting louder and louder as they come through. A lot of action anticipated. We're only on lap 5, and there's so much to look forward to as well. Big snap there from Viestre.
I wonder if he's overheating the tyres. It's very crucial to keep the rears alive here at Bahrain because it's a very rear tyre limited circuit, as we see in real life as well. And at least that's he's potentially going to be under attack from his teammate Sonneveld behind, and there we go. Yes, especially if he keeps doing that. That was a dare I say a sort of Sebastian Vettel style slide. We've seen him do that a few times through turn 4, and now I think he might be trying to just the sensible option here might be to let Sonneveld through, let the tyres cool down, and then fight back later in the race.
Yeah, just keep on cautiously, widely accelerating, as they're saying. I love to throw in as well, and that's what you've got to do. Be cautious, but keep accelerating, keep pushing as hard as you can. You never know what's going to happen later on in this race. Sonneveld's got DRS as well, as we ride on board with P13, with Borchowski as well, chasing down Matthew Klipp. And he had the DRS now looking to Harvig as well in 14th position. 2 of them on the medium compound tyres. Klipp on the hard compound tyre, looking to go longer into this race strategy as well. Those only 2, I think, started on the soft compound there. That's Marsa and Kringle as well at the top of the field.
Yeah, and we are starting to see, I think, Scott Flack set the fastest lap last time round, 2 tenths quicker. So over the next couple of laps, you're going to start to see the soft fade and the medium really come into its own. So Single could very much be on the defensive now. So the tide has turned. He had that brilliant start with the extra grip of the soft tyres. But now the mediums with their longer life are going to be in a slightly better condition. So this is where we see Single. The pressure really ramps up. How well can he defend? Is he going to bail out for an early pit stop? And there we go. Round the outside goes Scott Flack into turn 4. And Single has got very little grip here. And Scott Flack has to be really careful not to take out his front wing on the back of that ground effect car, Josh.
Yep, already pushing hard. Now we're going to see, this is what happens. Soft tyres start to die off. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Miganov is catching at the back of this as well. So because Single is holding up Scott Flack, that is allowing Miganov to get involved. So if we get to a DRS zone, Miganov could be able to get double slipstream here and create a real problem for both of these guys. But Single as I say, looking extremely vulnerable now. And I think Master down in 10th in the other ground effect, who's on the same strategy, could also start to struggle too. He's got a little bit more of a gap to Borotovsky, sorry.
Yeah, the two is still the same one then as we come through. Check temperature around about the same as when the race started. It's dropped to like a wheat percentage as well. But Flack now within 4 tenths, now 3 tenths as we come in as well. This could be an opportunity in towards turn number 1. They'll have the DRS to have the attack. Kringle's going to have to really, really go defensive. DRS will be the opportunity. Look at the most speed. Flack pulls to the outside line, and this is a difficult opportunity to get the overtake done, and he's done it. Flack takes it. Brilliant from Scott, and now Kringle's under pressure from Minioff now in 3rd position, just about taking it as we see Minioff just sort of backing off in the Valley eSports car.
Yeah, that was quite sensible from Single, because the minute Flack was through, he was defending the inside from Miganov, so good spatial awareness there, knowing that the battle for the lead was lost, but the battle for second still very much on then. So now Scott Flack, he'll hope to build a gap to these two, because Single can really help him out by holding up Miganov.
So the racing continues on then at the moment, lap 7 of 34. It does take a surprising short time to get to that distance, isn't it? Yeah, 7 of 34. I thought maybe the timer was stuck because we were only on lap 4 a few moments ago as well. So it's flying, but also sticking at the same time. It's a weird one. Sonneveld, that's Tio Sonneveld in 21st position we're watching at as well. Dropping back as well on the strategy, so not a great race for Sonneveld at the moment, but Gilles Sonneveld, as we know, Ed, from Formula E in different leagues where he's been absolutely fantastic, dominant, just taking, I thought he might be one to watch with the hybrid technology. He knows the best way to use it and save battery as well, not working out, as we see, I think it was Zahov as well in 20th losing positions.
Well, he went very fishtailed on the exit of turn 10 there as we go look at Louis Stevens. Yeah, it is Lewis Stevens. Sorry, I was trying to think if I got his first name right. If I don't know, if it's an L, I tend to go for Lewis, like Lewis Hamilton. But he's chasing Thomas Andrium Harazoa here for 18th position. Remember, the points do go all the way down to, I think, 20th place. Yeah, to 20th, exactly, as they did last season. So even the guys a bit lower down, there are still really big Teams Championship points up for grabs. And we saw in Brazil last season, Nandor Master finished 19th, meant that ground effect nearly stole the championship away from Valet. So as long as you stay in this race often, it can make a difference at the end of the season. But Andrium Harazoa having to get very, very defensive from Lewis Stevens in the Valet.
A lot happening then in this race. As we look, there is Sonneveld on board with, as we're just keeping it calm. Started on the medium compound tyre, about half a tenth behind Smith as well in 7th position. So just going to sit there comfortably for a while, not wanting to go into too much detail as to how they're going to be battling out for the rest of the race as well. And I think that's DRS. That pit for T Sonneveld actually, not the DRS at the bottom there.
Yeah, that's Tayan going into the pits then in the sister Geeks Energy car. But House Sonneveld, like you say, he also had a few races in Academy last season for Valet, where he qualified second, I believe, at Monaco. Unfortunately, had issues later in the race, sadly. But he's shown some great pace, and he really needs to get his first top 7, top 8 finish, I think, under his belt. That would be a really big boost for him. So Smith, of course, we've seen him do several recovery drives last season. He's battling for his own personal best result. I think 6th or 7th would match that. So these two in a sort of, like you said, we're seeing the sort of class of 2022. The sort of the people in the second tier move up to the first tier. Essentially, there's always that big shuffle, and we get a new season underway. As we look up ahead, that is Valistra and Maggio squabbling over 5th position. Oh, seeing a retirement then. So let's have a look at what happened here.
So presumably this is going to be
that
the
looks
DNF.
like, is that 10 Sonneveld in the pits then? Yeah, looks like it, sadly. Although I think Sonneveld might actually still be going, not sure if the timing screen is accurate. Oh, it's Lozano, sorry.
Lozano.
There we go. I completely misidentified that because they're both in these bright baby blue cars. So, but there we go, that's Lozano. His day sadly coming to an end.
Alex Howell's out too early on in the race, so that's more retirements we're seeing then at the moment. DRS back for Kringle there, he's dropped down to 3rd position with Meganoff up to P2. He's just about holding on, but I think the gap's actually more than a second now coming through on that screen.
Meganoff is actually through. We must have missed the move on a single there, but that's not surprising that the softs have started to just lose their effectiveness here. The rears, I think, really taking a bit of a battering in some of these long corners. And now we see Saracino starting to challenge Single for the final spot on the podium. So Scott Flack, he's used Single well, essentially here. Him holding up Daniil Miganov has meant he's been able to get a 3-second gap now as we go into lap 10. Or is this lap 9? Yeah, it is lap 10, sorry. And here we go, Saracino using DRS. Single is going to be absolutely defenseless here. Round the outside goes Saracino, and he's got to make sure he turns in when they get to the braking zone, as that's Maggio under attack from Velistra behind him. Velistra is through as well into the top 5. So a good progress being made here by the two. Oh no, Maggio fights back. There we go on the exit of turn 2. So Maggio is going to have the inside into turn 4, Josh, and sweeps through with the DRS.
Maggio gets ahead then up into P5. Venestra's going to cut back though through turn 4. Nearly taking off the front wing though as well. That's got a bit too close for comfort at the exit. Now going to try and attack between the sand dune section before turn 8. Not going to work out there, I'm afraid. So Maggio holds off for 5th position, but Viestra's coming, whether he likes it or not. He's got another opportunity for the DRS coming out of turn 10. Look how close under braking they can get. Nicely done. Power, a little bit of a slide there for Maggio as well. Now here comes Velestra with the DRS. Inside lines, the opportunity to overtake into turn 11. Maggio trying to break that toe, and I think he managed it coming into the opportunity. Smith's coming in there as well from 7th position.
That's a good point. Maggio sort of building up a bit of a train of cars behind him, having to drive very defensively. We've not seen that too often in Academy. Usually he's the one on the offensive. But now he's having to test the other part of his repertoire, and I think having a very good time by the sounds of it, by the fact that Velistra wasn't able to make it through on that previous attempt. But surely he's even closer now as they start lap 11. And we did also see Marsa hitting in the second ground effect, so I think that means Single's pit stop can't be too far away to get rid of those soft tyres, which are clearly being absolutely hammered around this circuit. Up the inside goes Velistra into turn 1, Josh, and slides the rear ever so slightly. Maggio back through on the exit.
Yeah, there was contact, and round goes Piastri, got punted round by Smith, and now the track's blocked, and off the wide. I'm trying to see, was that
Sonneveld having to avoid them all. Oh dear, that was absolutely messy there. And I think Smith sort of went for the inside there and had the door kind of closed in on him. And I have to see a replay, but it did look very, very marginal. Here we go, Josh. Talk us through it then.
Well, it all starts into the braking zone. Maggio's going to go defensive, so he gets ahead, but then it just loses.
Oh, he lost it on his own.
Yeah.
Apologies to Thomas Smith. And oh, look at Sonneveld. He nearly got collected in that and almost kind of lagged out the way there onto the runoff.
Really shocking stuff there. Really, actually quite shocking. I was surprised that he could lose it. And how lucky was Sonneveld not to just wipe into the pair of them and put himself out of the race.
But anyway, Velistra gets going in 8th position, and bad news for Super Venturi, leading across the race at the moment, but they need to get every point on offer. And that's a bit of a setback for Thomas Smith. But we've seen him make recovery drives before, so hopefully he can get that pace to good use. Sonneveld, like you say, very luckily staying out of trouble. Bit of a gap to Maggio ahead, but that hasn't compromised his race too badly. In fact, he gained 2 positions out of that. As we see side by side, this is Brandholm in a battle with Velistra, trying to go round the outside of him. Oh, and he's going to back him into that's Velistra. Sonneveld just got through, sorry, and now Velistra's having a go. So two teammates, I'm sorry.
They're just constantly battling with each other, aren't they? It's quite fun to see what's happening here as they continue to attack.
And Brandholm back up the inside of House Sonneveld and sliding the rear out and nearly hitting him. Whoa.
More contact, more drama. Lovely, 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 lovely. That's what we like to see.
I'm not sure the drivers are enjoying this contact. I think these two Geeks Energy cars looking a little bit annoyed about being bumped into, being spun around, having to go off into the gravel. Sonneveld is sort of feeling like getting a bit sick of looking at the valet for most of this race at the back of it, really. But I'm sure Brandholm is going to just keep defending. Whoa! It's a big moment on exit from 5 and 6 for House Sonneveld, and that could allow Velistra through if he's not careful. It looks like those Geeks Energy cars do love to abuse those rear tyres through that high-speed section, Josh.
They're abusing them like crazy. They're pushing them like mad as they fly back through. Here is Brandholm as well in 5th position for Valet, and he's got a nice little gap there of 7/10 to Sonneveld. Even with the DRS, can't do anything into the braking zone for turn number 11. Lap 12 of 34 then. And Flack leads, moving off second.
Looks like a single has been in the pits and he's gone unsurprisingly for hard tyres then, because that's really the only viable strategy starting on the softs. So he was probably hoping to build a bigger gap. It's not quite worked out for Istvan Single, sadly, but on fresher tyres and those around him, he could still make up ground. So keep your eyes peeled in the later stages. He could be a little bit of a threat, but up front, it's really about Flack, Miganov, Saracino, that top group, and then we've got a bit of a gap to Maggio, then Bramfom holding off the two Geeks Energy cars, and Sonneveld now is gearing up for another run into turn 1, Josh.
And into the braking zone, doesn't go, Sonneveld. Oh, a little twitch there from Babaroff, and I thought Sonneveld might just slip through on the inside line. Doesn't do so, and Sonneveld's now going to have the run up the hill. I'm surprised he didn't capitalise on that. He's got the DRS now on the run up towards turn 4, but no, nothing. He's actually dropped back, Sonneveld.
Velistra also going into the pits then, so he's deciding rather than abusing the rear tyres any further, he's going to plonk on the hards and try and get to the end there. We're on lap 13 of 34, so that means we've still got 21 laps to go, so the hards should be able to do that comfortably and cover that distance without wearing too much. But you might see some of the later pit stops having the advantage on these guys, as there we go, that's Harvick, sorry, having a battle with the Hyperion of Dabrowski with a Hudding not far ahead of them either. So Harvick has had pretty quietly impressive race, has been slowly making up ground. Dabrowski really having to soak up this pressure, of course. It's his debut for Hyperion here in Academy. Doing very well to hold on to that position just outside the top 10. And he's, of course, on the harder tyres. I believe he started on them. So Harvick on the mediums. So it's amazing that Harvick has kept them alive this long and in slightly better nick, better performance than the hards. You do see that sometimes, that the hard tyre is not necessarily the best race tyre. Often it's the guys that start at the back sort of roll the dice and hope they can get it to the end. We saw it a lot of times last season that the hard tyre was about as much use as a chocolate teapot at some of these circuits. But Bahrain with its high tyre wear, it could be a good move, Josh.
It really could as well. Bahrain's got a lovely little run going forward on it as well. So fingers crossed we're going to have an interesting second stretch. Just taking a look at the times as well. It's Cervera done a 134.067, front top of the race on the previous run around as well. So personal best coming through, and that's what we like to see. The race starting to come into its own now as well, and there's still a long, long way to go. So don't go
20 laps, Josh. Look at Smith there, who's caught up to the back of Sonneveld now that Velistra is out of the way. And great pace from Smith the last couple of laps, 134.6, whereas Sonneveld is in the 135.9s last time around. So that really shows you that Smith is starting to really pile the pressure on. Bramfall, remember, still ahead of these two as well. And then we've got Matthew Klipp, who's slowly working himself in. Matthew Klipp, of course, owner of Royal Blue Racing. He's been around a while, but it's great to see him in the car showing what he can do. And up the inside goes Thomas Smith on Sonic. Oh, and has to back out at turn 11 at the last minute. That is a really tough corner to overtake. That's more of a corner you see people clattering into each other if they get too caught up in the wake of the other car, brake a bit too late, and contact can be made.
Absolutely nice and brave between the pair of them as they come back down. We're now looking at Sonneveld pulling to the inside line, just trying to get some, I think, what was that?
Smith. That's Smith trying
getting clear air.
Possibly, or he's trying to literally just psych out. I know he's going for the pit lane. There we go. So I think he misremembered where the pit line was before the final, essentially after the final corner. But now in comes the Super Venturi of Thomas Smith. Remember, getting involved in that incident earlier, finally getting off those mediums and going for the hards. Somewhat unsurprisingly, seems to be the strategy of choice, Josh.
Yep, hard tyres for the mediums and the unlikely softs that we were having earlier on in this race as well. Now changing over. Now we're looking at Viestra down towards turn number 1. He's going to come out still behind, so don't really think the undercut really did anything there.
Well,
he's
been overcut by well, Maggio stayed ahead crucially by pitting later.
Smith.
And Smith has actually come out behind, so Smith has been undercut then by
so
staying
one
out those
undercut, one overcut,
laps.
nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit mixed up at the exit of the pit stops, but we should see those that on the fresher tyres have a small advantage, at least initially, but in the later stages, time management will become absolutely crucial then. Our erstwhile race leader, by the way.
Oh, big twitch from Zorowski as well. That's going to get passed by P12.
These are the two teammates. There we go. So the yellow ground effect making way for the purple. Oh dear. And Cancenari getting through as well. So that is Borotowski. It's clearly putting some punishment into those mediums there. And now Andrew Harasoa in the royal blue fancies getting involved in this too.
Yeah, there's a lot of punching out there, isn't there? A lot of unusual runs between them as they fly back. As the racing continues.
Yeah, the crucial
here.
thing, by the way, for Scott Flack after his
race leader's in. Sorry, time to crush you, Ed. Race leader's in.
Well, this is crucial then. Is Miganov going to come out ahead of Scott Flack, or I suspect he may come out behind as Branfom now inherits the lead. And then spins into the wall at turn 1.
Oh.
There we go. That is your braking energy recovery system just going absolutely haywire there. The rear tires locking and Branfom completely caught out there. Through goes Scott Flack and Hudding and Dabrowski.
Let's take a look at it. So watch, as Ed said, as soon as you hit the brakes, it's going to send you off in towards the wall. Hits it, tries to turn into the right, but the car wants to go left and straight into the wall.
There we go. And lucky he didn't have anyone ahead of him there, because that could have been very, very difficult indeed. But that is really a massive, massive setback then to Valet's race then, and for Dano Branfom, of course, who did compete last season as well. A little bit of a mistake. That's how difficult these cars are to get to grips with, really. If you've not done too many laps, or you're trying to turn in that little bit too soon, it can really catch you out with the hybrid braking system. But 121 kilojoules of energy, essentially. And if you don't know what to do with them, around you go. And now Saracino is going to take advantage. Also, Branfom staying out on the mediums. They're done.
Yeah,
especially after that
tires.
spin, too.
Say again?
That spin didn't help either.
No, the medium tyres are done. They need to come in. At this stage, 16 and 34, another set of mediums to go to the end. Could pay off, but I put hards on now. Track temperature, 42.7, still the same as when we started. It's actually gone up by 2 as well. It was 42.5, and it's gone back up to 42.7. As a little bit of a love tap from Viestra in the back there.
Yeah, that's Velistra being held up, and now Maggio takes advantage there as Boratovski on those very old mediums that he's been spinning all over the show. Almost taking advantage. Maggio just ran out of road to complete that maneuver into turn 16, and we'll have to back off and hope the DRS will help him. But that's what happens when you've got these cars that stay out a bit longer. They often end up being roadblocks for the ones who pit, and you have to really be careful not to trip up over them, as we see the Royal Blue up front of Matthew Klipp defending the lead, and Velistra having troubles into turn 1, and Maggio is through into 12th position.
Maggio goes through there, nicely done, and here comes Viestra trying to come back in him up towards turn number 4. DRS activated, linked him out of him on the inside against door, slammed firmly in his face for the trouble.
Now Maggio is trying to make it 2 moves in 2 corners here. But Boratovski just exactly in the wrong place. We'll have to force Maggio to go around the outside into turn 8. Maggio, leaves the door open for Velistra to dive up instead. And now Velistra makes 2 moves in 1. He's going to have to go around the outside into 9 and 10 on Boratovski. Boratovski still holds the inside. And now Maggio says, thank you for that. I'll go back through the inside as well. Boratovski finally cedes to the both of them. But that's very, very tense indeed. And Smith now is going to dive up the inside into turn 11. But Maggio still won't give up.
No, he won't, would he? He's absolutely pushing like crazy. He doesn't want to lose anything at the moment. As we go back on the attack. Maggio, look at this. Trying to go around the outside of Viestra. Not going to pay off. Smith's right there too. And Smith hits the tire. He touched the back of it. Popped off. He saw Smith. Sort of Maggio's car as well, sort of like an auto control, where it pushes up the back. So a little bit of a nose tap there. I'd love to see the replay, if possible, if there was a tap there. Because the way Maggio's car sort of went straight, looked like the rear got lifted up. But either way, it's right in the back of now Viestra with the DRS down towards turn 1. Again, gaining, dive bomb to the inside line. Thank you very much. And here comes Schmidt, maybe taking an advantage on this. He goes for the move. That's going to be contact and round, little touch again. So Schmidt getting all sorts of trouble out there.
Well, not the first time that Smith has made contact for the first couple of corners with one of the Geeks Energy cars. And in fact, it was actually Velistra last time around. Here we go, up the inside into turn 4. Velistra leaves plenty of room, tries to cut back on the inside. But a super move from the Super Venturi of Thomas Smith.
Very nicely done. So action.
Are you praising me or the driving of Thomas there?
I think both actually. 18 and 34 then. So Flack leads by 9/10 of a second as well. But look at that, we've got DRS all over the shop now as well. But
yeah, so Flack has been able to clear the guys who stayed out here. So Bruzita, Dabrowski, who's just been cleared by Saracino now actually, and I believe they're both teammates, so it makes sense. Actually, the teammate is Bruzita ahead of him, sorry. So Saracino should have an easier time getting into second place than he did getting into third. We've got Hudding, who stayed out, and I think Miganov is then next in line. So you see this has worked out beautifully for Scott Flack with a huge gap he's got to Daniil Miganov, who's still got these cars haven't hit yet to clear in front of him. And of course, Saracino, I think, has jumped Miganov as well in the pit stop phase.
Looks like it, doesn't it? As they come back through on the attack. And on the
Oh,
inside.
again, Smith up the inside, and Canzonieri just goes completely off track there.
Well, Smith had the nice little manoeuvre there. We knew that was coming, but now it's going to be a little bit more down towards turn 1. As we see him coming away, of course, the inside. Viestra goes defensive. My word! It's talking about a punch to the face. Lay on the brakes. No, nothing there.
Oh, we nearly lost it on entry to the corner there, but Canzonieri getting the DRS, of course, and Viestra very insistent that the Team GG driver should not get back through there, although he's on the older tyres. Another move from Smith then, this time the royal blue of Andrea Harazoa is his target, and he's absolutely powerless to defend there. Thomas Smith is flying right now, Josh.
Yeah, hard tyres seems to have come into it own now as well, up to P9, and now we're right in the back, we're watching Viestra trying to do the same manoeuvre on the inside, down at turn 8, lay on the brakes, gets the move done. Got to defend it though, coming into 9 and 10, a little bit of a wiggle there as well. And this is getting quite entertaining now. Viestra up to P10, following Schmidt through. So literally, anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, Andrea Harazoa, the Madagascan, really struggling. I think he's been on those hards since the beginning of the race. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
All 19 laps been spent on them. So surely he will have to pit at some point later in the race. We are approaching the last 14 laps or so. So this is where time management on these hards is going to become absolutely critical. As we see, here we go, Sonneveld trying to recover past Canzonieri into the top 12. And Geeks Energy have not really had this race their own way. Both Viestra and Sonneveld having multiple issues and things happening to them in this race. But this time, Canzonieri is the one who has the Geeks Energy car happening to him. He's through, Sonneveld into that top 12. And now free to chase Andrea Harazoa.
And down the straight we go again then towards turn number 1. Sonneveld, we're watching. Can he gonna get a move? No, DRS not going to work. Who's that diving towards the pit lane at the top? Oh, and Sonneveld does go for the move on the inside line for P11. Last of the late breakers with a quick dive bomb. Nicely done and very, very clear by around about a second by the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, Andrea Harazoa just really caught out under brakes there. Didn't have as much confidence as Sonneveld. But it was a Boratovsky in the ground effect that we saw diving into the pits there. Peter Knapp now joins him as well. So I think it was about time for Boratovsky. He's going on another set. He's going on a set of softs, interestingly. I believe he started on the mediums or the hards, and now he's going. He's trying, I think it's difficult doing the last 13 laps on the soft tyres. I'm not sure how that's going to work. They're going to be quite warm by the end of it. But best of luck to Boratovsky. He's certainly got experience about nursing warm tyres in this race already. So let's hope he can do it again. Meanwhile, Flack leads Saracino, but only by 1.2 seconds there. I'd expected him to have a big lead. Saracino has recovered beautifully after being almost punted at the side at the start. And now holding on to that second place position very convincingly with Buzita and Dabrowski staying out longer and helping him build the gap to Miganov, sorry.
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it, at the moment as they attack going forward into the braking zone. Viestra in P10. Oh, little twitch in the exit. Schmidt's getting a little bit nervous now as we head down the straight. Look at it again, Maggio going straight through, and is that Hudding into the pit lane?
Yeah, all these guys who started on the hard tyres are now having to pit, aren't they? So we see Hudding coming in, we see Andrea Harazoa, we saw struggling coming in as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Buzita and Dabrowski, who we've just seen cleared by Miganov, coming in as well soon.
Yeah. Indeed, so they're all going to go attack.
Yeah, yeah, Saracino now within 8 tenths of the lead. So Scott Flack, is he saving these tyres till later, or is he genuinely in trouble here? Giuseppe Saracino has been the dark horse of this race, has been absolutely flying out there, hasn't he, Josh?
Yeah.
And that blue and bright green car is going to be all over the mirrors of the dark blue Super Venturi, isn't he, before too long? If he's in DRS range now, he could be through down the main straight.
I think it's possibility 9 tenths, and we'll have a DRS as well coming up. So come on. And then again, Scott Flack led the race from pole, started on alternate tyres. On the hards, remember, then took another one. So has he come into the pit lane yet, Flack? Has he been on there since the start?
He has, yes.
Yeah.
But he was one of the, I think, let me have a look at the tyre difference. So he's been on 6 laps on the hards, whereas Saracino has been on them 7 laps. So actually, Saracino's on a lap older tyres then. So this is very, very impressive. A great debut for SimSpark then to see them fighting for the win here in this opening round as we see Buzita and Dabrowski finally bail for the pits. Let's hope their strategy, staying out longer than the other hard runners, can work out for them. But the gap behind to Miganov, yeah, that tells its own story about the progress that Saracino has made. But there's one more place to gain, and Scott Flack is going to do everything in his power to stop Giuseppe Saracino from stealing away this win. This is an absolutely crucial battle to watch, Josh.
And now we're keeping an eye on it, 5/10. Now the run out of turn 9 and 10 are going to be the big thing for DRS opportunity as well. That's the inside line. You ready for it? Here we go again then. DRS activating down the back straightaway, and a little slide there from Flack, and it already looks like it's an immediate attack as well for Saracino as well into turn number 11. Doesn't get through, and Flack's with the Super Venturi staying where they are.
And
As
energy deployment is going to become crucial here as well.
Scott started on the medium as well, apparently. rFactor 2 didn't update.
He did,
Now
yes.
he's on the hards, yeah.
Yeah, they're both on the same strategy then. And like I said, Saracino pit a lap later than Scott Flack and has been able to make up that ground. So the interesting thing here to watch is Scott Flack's, and that's really bad final corner from Scott Flack. So that could create an opportunity here, could create a massive hole in the air. But Scott Flack uses the hybrid battery system to deploy energy down the straight to hold off the SimSpark driver behind him. And
I think it's make a difference.
It does.
No.
Yeah, you saw how he just rocketed away despite having that suboptimal, as Ron Dennis might say, exit from the final corner. Saracino will, of course, have the DRS, which in itself is a big advantage. So Scott Flack's going to have to be very strategic about where he deploys this energy, at where he's most vulnerable, essentially, to compensate for any weaknesses that he might leave open to Saracino otherwise. Saracino's got his own push-to-pass system as well at his disposal, let's point out. So he's been quite canny himself to close up this ground. Single, by the way, has been able, by pitting early, he's been able to stay out and climb back up to 4th position ahead of Alessandro Maggio. So Single's had a pretty good recovery from how much time he was losing on those soft tyres earlier on. So really, ground effect, the only one to go for that strategy.
Maggio's got his own version of push-to-pass, but it's just using his front nose cone instead, as we've seen with several drivers today doing that. And it's put several of them out of position. So it's been a very topsy-turvy race in total here for the first FSR race of the season for Academy. And we've got the pros coming up after this as well, Ed.
Indeed, yes. And I believe I'm going to be commenting on that too. And then before that, at just after dinner at like 7:30, I think, we got the World Championship. And that's UK time, by the way. So it's probably going to be about 8:30 in a CEST, of course. Oh, it is at 8, sorry. There we go. Anyway, let's not worry about that because Saracino is once again closing on the back of Scott Flack a little bit. Once again, Flack using his battery to great effect down the main straight, which I know is probably the big opportunity that Saracino's got, because that's where the DRS is most effective then. So we're seeing the hybrid system in action. It's a great advert for the hybrid system so far, the way Scott Flack has been using it to his advantage. But I wonder if Saracino will recognize that and wait for maybe the exit of turn 10, which could be another opportunity where he could use the DRS if Scott Flack has wasted his 120 kilowatts of power down the main straight already at that point.
Into the braking zone then, coming up. Can we see Flack stay defensive for the next 11 laps of this circuit? 10.5 now from where we are. Let's see then, as we see on the back, can Scarcio get the back? He's got the DRS, Ed.
He does, but again, I think Scott Flack has been listening to what I said and anticipated this. He saved just a little bit of electrical energy in that battery to use that and the exit from turn 10 into turn 11. I'll tell you who's lighting up the time screens right now. Matthias Dabrowski in the Hyperion in temp. He's just cleared Adam Buzita. And has a 7-second gap to Matthew Clip in front of him. So fastest lap of the race, 1:32.962 last time round by Dabrowski. So he is about 2 seconds a lap faster than these guys in the lead on the hards. And that is the difference between the mediums and the hards then. So potentially the guys going on the hards, like the likes of Sonova. And here we go. Saracino well in the DRS range, and he's going to clear before they even get to turn 1, Josh. Saracino takes the lead.
And Flack's going to try and come back. Saracino leads here in Bahrain, but look at Flack taking a tighter line at the exit of 1. Gets oversteer, and that costs him a shot and regaining the lead. Saracino brilliantly takes it, and now can set off into the distance. Now has to do the defence.
There we go. Meanwhile, Thomas Smith is all over the back of Maggio in the battle for 5th, but that was very well timed by Saracino. We saw it getting very, very strategic, and Scott Flack just ran out of battery, I think, right when he needed it, and he was just too close. And up the inside goes Smith as they go into turn 4. That's his favorite maneuver. Can Maggio do anything at all about that? He's going to have just a little bit of his nose alongside, but that's nowhere near enough to defend position. Thomas Smith knows that, dives through, takes that top 5 position, and now Single, his next target, who's been on those hard tires quite a while now. So I expect Thomas Smith is going to challenge for the top 4 before too long.
Single is going to be watching in trouble now as well. 3 seconds between them as they come through, but what an overtake from Schmidt on the inside line. And now look at Viestra as well. Can he get in the toe of Maggio as well down the back straight away? No. Sonneveld under attack from Clip as well further behind. So the battle for 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh! A mistake from Maggio into turn 11, and that's going to allow Velistra to be closing right on the rear gearbox here. And Velistra needs to be careful that he doesn't take out his front wing. We're getting that close to the back of the valet there. Scott Flack is still just about in DRS range of Saracino, by the way, in the battle for the lead. But I think he's a little bit too far back to take advantage. And Saracino, very, very aware of that indeed. But Maggio, we call him the Magic Man in GPPWC Academy because he just keeps winning. But the magic seems to be fading at this phase of the race. Maybe the lack of experience in this car at this level is starting to show. And we see a move behind.
Yeah, that's going to be Clip, isn't it? Making move on Sonneveld to the braking zone, and it's very tight between them, and Sonneveld gets literally forced out. So good move there as well for the back, if that is the correct manoeuvre.
No, it's a lapped car being cleared. So I think that's Rudy Van Hooding just clearing.
That's spoiled our fun, hasn't it? I was really looking forward to that.
Oh, it's Snetbangers, sorry. Snetbangers, who we saw lose his front wing early in the race. I think he might be actually trying to get back on the lead lap here. That's what's happening, Josh.
Call Sebastian Vettel for the blue flag song, please.
Oh no, he's got the pace to get by these guys, especially if they're sliding around like that in front of him, Josh. I think he's well within his rights to do this. So now Sonneveld this is Velistra actually he's trying to clear. So Snetbangers, the fly in the ointment very much. As you see Saracino starting to increase that lead to 1.3 seconds then ahead of Scott Flack. So Scott Flack, this is really into time management mode now. His best chance is to hope that Saracino falls off the cliff near the end, pushing too hard to build a gap to him. But at the same time, he can't let him escape too far down the road. And Miganov too far behind to really get involved in that lead battle. So it's looking like the battle for 4th is going to be the main one to keep out for then, between Single, Smith, Maggio, Velistra and Sonneveld.
Back on the attack we go onto the inside then as well.
And Stepbangers decides to undo that move from earlier and let Sonneveld back through then. Oh, and he's going to complete stop, I think. There we go, retiring from the race, Netbangers. And that's a big shame for 10 because he was doing well just to carry on after losing his front wing earlier on, Josh. And never like to see a guy retire from the race because he sort of felt if he wasn't allowed to unlap someone, and there wasn't really any chance of a decent result for him. Unfortunately, he was just too far behind otherwise. Lap 27 of 34 then. And Maggio still right behind Smith to his credit. And challenging that Super Intro to try and get back into the top 5 and also challenging the rear tyres to sort of stay on the track.
Yeah, a lot of action then for Maggio as well in 6th position as he has the attack. Then with Schmidt and Viestra in there too. Up towards turn 9 once again here in Bahrain. I'm just under immense amazement there with Sacrino at the front there. Look at that, 2.4 seconds already to Flack as they attack through.
Yeah, it looks like Flack has run out of batteries. You see, was that Matthew Clip going wide at turn 10 there and off track. So Clip loses a little bit of ground. He was not too far behind this battle before that. And that's going to put him 5 seconds adrift now. So that's a big shame for Matthew. But I'm sure he will get his head down and get that Royal Blue back to the tail of Sonneveld before too long, given the pace that he's got at his disposal. He did set a personal best lap last time around. He was pushing 1:33.5. Which was over a second faster than Sonneveld in front of him. So that's why I said what I just said, that he's going to catch up because he's got that pace. If he can keep the tyres alive in the latter stages also without spinning out and crashing into the wall at the final corner, which he does well to avoid. But perhaps there's some damage to that car, Josh.
Yeah, maybe suspension as well to keep losing it like that from the early onset of the race as well. Look at Viestra now. What was it? 0.6? No, 0.7 behind Maggio, as well as the Racing continues, lap 28 of 34 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. And Viestra now sliding left and right as we take a look at him. He's having a big moment at the top of the hill at turn 4. And Sonneveld now joining the battle, which means it is a fight for 5, 6, 7, 8. Favourite dance moves start now.
Yeah, Scott Flack really being dropped by Giuseppe Saracino, who's showing absolutely excellent pace. I did not predict this at the start of the day, but Saracino doing incredibly well in that SimSpark and leading incredibly convincingly. Has just got to hold on then for another 6 laps, and then he might be able to take the first win of the season and start it off in the best possible form, of course, as well. Buzita, by the way, his teammate, is still in DRS range of Dabrowski, and they're challenging him for the final top 10 position. So that could be absolutely crucial points for SimSpark as well. Meanwhile, Maggio, as we see, continuing to give... because he's getting DRS from Smith, of course. That is what's sort of helping him keep the gap to Velistra and Sonneveld behind him. So the DRS train coming into effect, and it's Smith leading it this time rather than Maggio.
Yep, as they attack again, we're watching now with Schmidt.
Oh, around the outside for Maggio.
No, Maggio can't get through.
But he is forcing Smith to be a bit more defensive than he would really like to, so he can't break away, can he? Maggio keeping the pressure up, and Smith was making so much progress earlier. This is allowing Single to kind of run away. Single did pit... how long has Single been on those tyres for? About 17 laps, I think, on the hards. Smith has been on his for 14 laps, so it's only a 3-lap difference, but you could really notice it in the final few laps if Single's pace drops off a cliff. Last lap for him, 1:34.6, so only a tenth slower than Thomas Smith. And Single, as has just been pointed out to me, is having to deal with lap traffic in front of him that we're seeing these guys are going to have to deal in the form of Smith, Maggio, and the 2 Geeks Energy cars. So that is... looks like one of the competition cars. I believe it's Garnier they're going to have to clear first, and then Andrzejewski.
Yep, as back on the attack. And looking down further back. And here is Garnier in the back, 25th position.
Yeah, you can just see that dot on the horizon. And Smith, who's probably going to lap them before the end of the race, unless the competition driver, let's give JM Garnier his due. He has shown some pace on occasions, even though he's at 25th position at the moment. Just outside the points, unfortunately for him, but he could make his teammate more later, holding up until the final point at the moment, of course.
Down the straight we go. Now look at Schmidt once more. He's got Maggio just at the back. Now the gap between them is 0.4 of a second, and Maggio thinks about a late move into turn 1, decides very much against it, but what's the exit like through 3 and 4? The run up now at the top of the hill. Now board with Maggio in the Valley eSports. He's backed off now, hasn't he? He's in no way he's going to make a move.
Yeah, but he's just doing well to keep Smith incredibly honest at the moment and could well challenge in the final stages. We are watching this because it's the closest battle on track, I believe, throughout the whole field. So, and it looks like Single is being unlapped, actually, by Pavel Andrzejewski. And that's potentially really bad news for him. So he's starting to struggle on these hards. Last lap for Single, 35.3. So he is about a second a lap slower now than Thomas Smith. So this is where the delta, this is where pitting early really cost him. So I think Single, despite making that brilliant start to take the lead, is probably regretting starting on the soft tyres now, because it's really left him with a lot of work to do in this stint.
I know I would be 100% regretting it right now. If we start on those tyres now in this position. Few of them gone soft though, Ed, look, down in the further back of the field. So just a couple of changes in alternate strategy. All of them, though, I'm delighted to say, are being used hard, medium and softs, which isn't something we get in Formula 1. So I'm very happy that, in fact, it's something I get in eSports in the F1 game as well. So I'm happy that rFactor has got that in here for FSR, and we've got all strategies involved as Zingal under attack now on the inside line, Ed.
Yeah, that is Jean-Michel Garnier clearing him then. And now that means Single has got Maggio right behind him, because Maggio has just cleared Thomas Smith, but not for much longer. Smith is still up the inside. It is brilliant, Josh. Through the inside they go, and these two so evenly matched. and putting on an absolutely fabulous show in this race. I've lost count of the amount of times I swapped positions, Josh, but it's now Smith ahead once again, to the slight frustration of Maggio, who just spins the wheels up ever so slightly through 5 and 6, because they want to be the first to attack Istvan Single to get into that top 4 position, and Single is really struggling here on those hards. He knows he's fighting a losing battle. 18 laps, 19 laps on those tires now, isn't it? So they are starting to give their best, as Maggio completely almost drops it into turn 10, but just about saves it. So now Smith is free to attack Istvan Single in front of him, Josh.
Very much the attack on the inside line. It was getting quite, I don't want to say dangerous, but it certainly made me jump when he almost dropped it to that part of the track as well. So all eyes then on the battle for the podium positions. We've got effectively the run going through. 1, 2, 3. So this is 4, 5, 6. Is that, who's that?
That's Garnier letting
Garnier's,
everyone through.
yeah.
So the competition driver being very, very considerate there. And because I think he realized he was starting to hold up Single, having unlapped him there. So that was very sporting, and hopefully this battle can now continue unabated, as that Single struggling to hold on to that top 4, but he would be doing incredibly well if he can keep at least 1 or 2 of these guys behind. I have the feeling Smith and Maggio could well be through, given the 2 laps we've got remaining, Josh.
Yep, only 2. What a surprise. This race has flown by for the first one of the season here for the Academy Series. As we come back on the inside, we're racing with Schmidt now as well. Can he have a go at Single as well through turn 4? No, Maggio is just behind him by, what, less than a second? 9 tenths? Now 7 tenths, so it's anything possible in the next 2 laps here at Bahrain. It's a track that invites you to make overtakes at the last possible moment.
And was that a lockup from Single into turn 8? He's really asking for so much from these tyres right now, and he absolutely needs it. Make no mistake, wide he goes into turn 10, and through goes Thomas Smith, and it looks like Maggio's been overtaken by both Geeks Energy cars. In fact, Smith lifts off to left. Istvan Single back into 4th position there. So I think maybe he thought there was some contact there, perhaps. Maybe there was a bit of lag.
Stick?
Well, it could be a bit of latency there, that maybe on Smith's screen he hit the back of Single and we didn't see that. So Smith seems to be aware of contact, but we, however, are not. It just looked to me like Single just went wide. But there could be some rFactor 2 shenanigans going on there. But Maggio, while we're watching that, went completely wide on the exit turn 8. I think the hards on Maggio have been pushed a bit too far as well, and Geeks Energy taking advantage.
A wonderful chat has said, I think rFactor 2 gave him a cut. And that's why, as on the inside, Smith making the move again now. On Single into turn 1. Single gets the comeback. Late to the brakes, doesn't work out. Smith goes through to 4th position. And now, look at Single into position with Viestra, Sonneveld, and Maggio all involved. Maggio dropped down to 8th position now. It's all with the DRS on the run up towards turn 4. And again, here's Maggio at the back of the pack, not making through, but the racing getting intense now in the last 2 laps.
Yep, so now Single, having lost that 4th position, he's going to have to keep these tyres live for as long as he can. Keep House Sonneveld at bay. And Sonneveld and his teammate Vilistra looking incredibly threatening right now. And now are they catching back up to the lap traffic again in front of them? So that could create even more problems for Istvan Single. And Sonneveld does well not to hit the back of him. So Single's had to extend the braking zone there because the tyres just wouldn't have enough grip otherwise. And here we go, saved actually, in fact, by the DRS from the lapped car in front of him. But how much longer is that going to be the case? So we're on the penultimate lap. We're about to start the final lap from Saracino, actually, who's 2.5 seconds ahead of Scott Flack, has driven an immaculate race. Despite that issue at the first corner of the race that dropped him down to, I think, 5th or 6th. He's had an amazing run on this strategy, has made it work beautifully for him. And it looks like his reward is going to be a first victory of the season, a first finish of the season, I believe, for Saracino. I don't think he's finished in a FSR before.
Well, I was going to say, this is the first race of the season.
And the lap car pits out of the way on the final lap, I think, or is... Yeah, that is lap car pitting out of the way, but Sonneveld uses the DRS to clear Single long before they reach the braking zone. And that is disappointment for Single. The best he can do out of this race, despite snatching the lead at the start, is going to be 6th position, I think. And Maggio at the inside of Vilistra. And that looked very tetchy between the two. Vilistra spins out into the wall. And was there contact between the two? I think Vilistra, it looked like lost it on his own, but that is going to cause serious damage there to the Geeks Energy car.
Here it is, look. So It's going to be just a snap off. This is the 46.
On the
he
curb,
lost on the
he lost it
curb.
on the... Yes, there we go. So nothing to do with Maggio at all. The front wing flying in front of him. Come back, says Stan Velistra, but it's too late now. And the steering completely bent as well. So Velistra, what's the gap behind? He's dropped to 12 already, so that's absolutely costly for him. But Saracino now has only got one more corner to negotiate to take his and SimSpark's first victory here in FSR Academy. Just one corner to go. Scott Flack tried his best, but he could not keep Saracino at bay. Here we go then. The Bahrain Grand Prix is going to go to Giuseppe Saracino, who wins the opening race of the season, who takes the maximum score of points and starts his season off in the best possible fashion.
Fantastic race, and now look at that. Flack finishes in P2. Very well-deserved podium as well for McGinnoff, who's just sort of stayed out of nowhere. Schmidt's going to come home 4th, with Sonneveld fighting across the line for 5th. Zingel will be 6th. Maggio comes home for 7th towards the pit wall as well. That was fantastic stuff. A lot of good racing.
Fastest lap of the race on the final lap by House Sonneveld, so he's really pushing, only 6 tenths behind Schmidt at the line. And we see, does that look like another battle going on there, I think, between Van Hudding just trying to clear Buzita and just missing out on that top 10 at the end. But it was 1:32.270 from Sonneveld, fastest lap of the race.
And everyone now just waits to take the checkered flag, and everyone
this
looks
is the battle
like
for 17th, by the way. Is Romulo Silveira going to try and go around the outside of the valet of Lewis Stevens on the final corner of the race? Side by side they go, Josh. And towards the line, it's going to be a drag race, a dead heat. But I think Silveira, is he going to get DRS? No, he won't. There we go. So Lewis Stevens holds on by the skin of his teeth there. But wow, you'll never see a more hardly fought battle for 17th position there. Up and down the field. Every point matters, Josh.
Ooh.
And there we go. Lewis Stevens. He'll be cheering a little bit there. Some joy for Valet. A podium and 17th and 7th and 12th for Maggio and Dano Granfon, respectively.
0.092 across the line, Ed.
Oh, I've seen closer, but that's still pretty close. And there we go, the Italian flag on Saracino. So the Italians watching at home will be absolutely delighted with that. Saracino wins for SimSpark. Didn't think I'd be saying that today, but this proves he's one to watch out for the rest of the season, isn't he, Josh?
Absolutely, and we're in for a very fascinating season now. There's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot, I don't want to say on the edge, but there is, isn't there? There's a lot on the edge after this opening race, and there's a lot to look forward to. And T. Sonneveld retired as well for the race. That's unfortunate for 10. He's going to have to go forward as well.
We are going to see a replay then, I think, of that battle, the final corner, Josh. Oh, this is how 10 Sonneveld exited the race, sorry. My apologies. So there we go.
Backwards.
In the barrier, the Geeked Energy car missing the rear wing. So that's why 10 Sonneveld was not quite able to finish up there with his brother. So this happened very early on then at the final corner. I believe he just drops it on his own. So he's already in difficulties because he's a long way behind the next car in front of him. And that's a big shame then for 10 Sonneveld. He'll be having better things next time out in Barcelona. So then, Saracino's already vacated the car then to get onto the podium, I think. But we should be able to see. Now everyone's crossed the line. The final results before too long. Everyone getting into the pit lane. So joy for SimSpark. I think Super Venturi will be very happy with 2nd and 4th, Josh, as well. That's a great return for them after they had a bit of an anonymous season last season. Just got flat back on form, which is great to see. But here are our final results then. Let me go through them very, very quickly. Giuseppe Saracino takes victory from Scott Flack. Daniel Miganov takes 3rd for Valet ahead of Thomas Smith in the 2nd Super Venturi. He had a brilliant couple of battles in this race, as did House Sonneveld. Istvan Single drops to 6th in the end, despite that brave strategy call. Alessandro Maggio finishes 7th on his debut ahead of Matthias Dabrowski for Hyperion. Matthew Klipp for Royal Blue. Adam Buzita rounds out the top 10 in the 2nd SimSpark. Then, in 11th position, we have got Ruben van den Hudding ahead of Dan Overbrandtholm. Mattis Harvig 13th ahead of Stan Velistra. Thomas Andrew Maharasoa 15th ahead of Andrei Boratovsky. Lewis Stevens 17th, just as you say, Josh, ahead of Romulo Silveira by 0.092 of a second. Nando Massa, he's 19th in the end. Again, ground effect strategy not quite coming to fruition ultimately. Eliseo Nunez takes the final point for Valet eSports in 20th. Then it is just missing out Peter Knapp, Fabrice Morleto, Giuseppe Canzonieri, Jean-Michel Garnier is our final finisher for Competition. Then our non-finishers, Pavel Andrzejewski for Hyperion, 10 Sonnevel, 10 Snapbangers. A bad day to be called 10, it would seem. Dmitry Zaharov, Hugo Lozano Garcia, and our first retirement all the way back at the start, Alex Hallows. Never really got going, sadly, in the Team 2G car. So that is all from Academy here. We'll be back, of course, next time on 11th of June. But coming up in about 45 minutes' time then is going to be your pro race. We're going to see all of the top drivers, a lot of similar teams from Academy, with the likes of Valet and Geeks Energy and all the rest, all putting on a great show there. But final thoughts then, Josh, before we go off air from our opening Academy round of the season. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was absolutely fantastic, Ed. Thanks for bringing me along as well. Thanks to everyone here at FSR as well. Sadly, won't be in Barcelona because I'll be doing the Le Mans 24 hour at the same time you'll be commentating, but hopefully I'll be back for Montreal. And it's going to be another exciting race. I can't wait for it. I love Montreal. So Barcelona's going to be great. Shame we have to wait a month, though.
Yeah. To clarify, Joshua is commentating on Le Mans 24. He's not actually competing in it. Despite the fact he just said, I'm doing it. But yeah, anyway, just to make that absolutely clear so people at home don't get too confused. But anyway, I guess that's all from Academy then. It is Saracino who takes the first win of the season, but will he be able to continue this run of form into Barcelona? We'll have to see. Thank you very much once again to our sponsor, VCO Esports. Thanks to Josh, and thanks to Kakas on the broadcast. I've been Edward Hunter. Thanks for watching the opening round of FSR Academy at Bahrain, and tune in soon for Pro.